Donald Trump is very reliable. He's very reliable in civil cases. He will file a civil case for billions of dollars in order to distract from the underlying failures of his administration, especially a defamation case. He'll either use it to extort a payment, like in the CBS Paramount case related to Kamala Harris in 60 Minutes, or he'll use it as a talking point politically, knowing that his case has no merit, like in the Murdoch Wall Street Journal $20 billion defamation case down in Miami. I discuss the latest development. Spoiler alert, Donald Trump's close to dismissing that case against the Wall Street Journal. He's certainly not going to be taking Rupert Murdoch's deposition because he's old and he's 94, which he filed last week with a motion. Yeah, that's not happening. We got a new motion filed by both sides. Probably because the other side said, you want to take Rupert Murdoch's deposition in the beginning of this case in the first 2 weeks? We want to take your deposition, Donald Trump, the day after. And now we've got new reporting. I break it down for you in a brand new podcast I do on the Midas Touch Network called The Intersection. And here's a clip. All right, let's get back to it. Speaking of all rise, something happened in the court today for Donald Trump, and it was another example of him folding under pressure. It's Taco Tuesday for Donald Trump in the Wall Street Journal Rupert Murdoch case. What happened? Well, let me do a little wind up and then I'll do the pitch. The wind up is Wall Street Journal a couple of weeks ago runs that front page story. They got it dumped in their lap. I'm sure from some collaborator, some cooperating, some leaker gave them a copy of the leather-bound scrapbook containing a birthday card pasted in it for Jeffrey Epstein by one Donald Trump. Who is the person that put together the scrapbooky thing? Ghislaine Maxwell. Of course, Donald Trump's BFF, one of his BFFs, lots of, I'd have to do a show that went on for hours to show all the photos and videos of Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump, Melania, Epstein, Donald Trump, fill in the blank. So I'm not saying that Donald Trump sat down at an arts and crafts table and actually made it with like glitter and a glue gun. I'm not saying that. He's got plenty of people in his office that can draw dirty pictures. And all he has to do after he gives the outline is come in and put that little Sharpie, in the, naughty parts of the woman that he drew. That's how that got made. And then I got glued into a book, a birthday present, along with lots of other people's birthday wishes for Jeffrey Epstein. The problem for Donald Trump is it was a terrible, lousy look for Donald Trump to have said, on one hand, in an interview a year before the card making, that, Jeffrey Epstein likes those women young. And then when you have when you have a sex trafficker and a pedophile to be caught in your birthday card talking about him being an enigma and having secrets. That's a bad look, don't you think? Not for Donald Trump. I said in the first segment, he's got a convicted child sex trafficker who he needs to vouch for him. That shows you how low where he is. So you've got the book, you got the Wall Street Journal article. Donald Trump's livid about it, calls up Rupert Murdoch before the publication because he gets wind of it from the reporter. And he says, Rupert, I didn't draw it. I don't write it. I don't doodle. And Rupert said, I'll look into it or I'll take care of it. Well, he took care of it. He took care of it. He went and talked to the reporters, I'm sure. He talked to his First Amendment lawyers. They vetted the article 3 ways to Sunday, knowing I'm sure there were other newspapers that were ready to report on it. And they ran the story once they were comfortable that they were immune and insulated from defamation because they got the story right. And Donald Trump, he painted himself into a corner with the American public and MAGA. Well, I got to sue now. I got to file that lawsuit. So he files a lawsuit in Miami, federal district court. Why wasn't it West Palm Beach? For 2 reasons. Because when you file in the Southern District of Florida, where I practice, you can check the box for West Palm near Mar-a-Lago, where he lives, or you can check the box for Fort Lauderdale or Miami or something else. They picked Miami, I think, for 2 reasons. One, they wanted to avoid Eileen Cannon because they didn't want the case assigned to her in case they got to elevate her to an appellate court judge or Supreme Court justice. I know we all just threw up in our mouth, but let's be honest with each other, right? That's why we're here at the intersection, to be honest. Then we'll go over what to do next. And I think they wanted to avoid Judge Middlebrooks, the senior status judge, a Clinton appointee, that already threw the book at Donald Trump and Alina Habba for over $1 million fine when he found that their meritless lawsuit against Hillary Clinton, the Democratic Party, John Podesta, and the rest, was in bad faith. So they didn't want to get him. There's only 3 judges up there: Rosenberg, Middlebrooks, and Cannon. They didn't want to do that one. So they went to Miami. But they happened to pull on the random wheel of 20 judges, Darren Gales. I love Darren Gales. He was a great state court judge. I supported his campaign. He got elevated by Obama to the federal bench, as many of the Miami judges do, and he's great. He was also the judge that presided over Michael Cohen's defamation case, where Donald Trump sued him for $500 million. And that case did not go well for Donald Trump. Gales runs a tight ship. He's unflappable. He's got a great judicial demeanor. He reminds me, if you remember Judge Merchan in New York, his temperament. In fact, I've compared his temperament to the two of them together, and I've had people that have been before both agree with me. I've been before Gales. I haven't been before Merchan. So he pulled the judge that's not going to allow any nonsense to happen in his courtroom. So Donald Trump taking the lesson out of, let me finish with Michael Cohen. So Michael Cohen right away demands a deposition of Donald Trump in the very beginning. Donald Trump folds, dismisses the case. Donald Trump probably thought, well, it was good for Michael Cohen, I'll try it. So right away, within the first week of filing the lawsuit, before discovery, the exchange of documents, the meeting, the report you have to file with the judge, the order from the judge about discovery, before any of that is done in the first month or two, he decides, we'll catch him flat-footed. I'll demand a deposition, an emergency deposition of Rupert Murdoch because he's old. I'm not kidding. It's a bene esse motion. It's a Latin term. To preserve the evidence because you fear that the witness is going to die or be out of the jurisdiction. And you want to preserve it. So they wrote all sorts of terrible things about the Murdoch being 94 years old and having COVID and broke his back and passed out and whatever. I'm not sure 80 whatever he is, Donald Trump in his corpulent self is in better shape than Rupert Murdoch. But be that as it may, that was pending. And now I said early on, if I were the lawyers for Murdoch, and he's got great lawyers, he's got a firm up in New York that represents all media outlets in First Amendment cases. They're phenomenal. And a local counsel who I knew as well from my practice down here. I said, if they were smart, they would say, you want his depo? We want your depo. Like the next day. Or and then horse trade. That's exactly what happened. I'm sure the meet and confer, which is the required phone call between the two counsels, went something like this. Hey, Alejandro, that's the lawyer for Donald Trump. I see you have this motion that you want to have a deposition of Rupert Murdoch under oath in 14 days. That's fine, but on the 15th day, have your client ready. Well, what do you mean? Well, we're taking your client. Well, don't you want discovery? Well, you don't seem to want it. So why don't we do it? Now, I said when that motion was filed that Donald Trump revealed himself, that his case did not have merit, because he said on the second page of his motion that all the knowledge about the case was in the mind of Rupert Murdoch. Well, how do you sue then if you don't have the proper grounds to sue? Okay. I think that was one part of the conversation. We want you want our deposition in 2 weeks? We want your deposition in 2 weeks and 1 day. And everybody knows, unless you lived under a rock, that Donald Trump does terribly in depositions. Terribly. When he's not taking the Fifth Amendment, making himself out to be a criminal. Have you seen him get beat mercilessly by Robbie Kaplan in the E. Jean Carroll case? He got so confused, he didn't know what photos were. He didn't recognize E. Jean Carroll. He thought it was his first wife or his second wife, Marla Maples. He just said crazy things. Then he started attacking Robbie Kaplan, the lawyer, and her looks. I mean, it went nuts. All on videotape, which was played in front of the jury. And that's one of the reasons they awarded her, E. Jean Carroll, $83.5 million in one case. So he doesn't want to be deposed. And if anybody worth their salt, which there aren't any, with integrity, were around him, they would say to Donald Trump, with all due respect, boss, you suck in a deposition. I've prepared top apex corporate executives for depositions. I have. And I've been candid with them. If they suck, you suck. We need to settle this case. That is, some version of that has come out of my mouth sometimes. But Donald Trump doesn't have anybody around him that'll do that. So they said, I'm sure, you want Murdoch? We want Trump. And then Trump said, that's okay. That's all right. Why don't we wait until you file your motion to dismiss, Washington Post, and we'll see what happens after that. So they filed a motion, but I'm telling you that horse trading happened behind the scenes. With Judge Gales, it said, yeah, we're good here. We're going to vacate the motion for the early depo. Nobody's going to take any early depositions. Right? Like really nervous. And instead, we're going to let the Washington Post file their motion to dismiss. They think so little of their own case, the Trump side, that they're going to let the Washington Post go first with the motion to dismiss. And only if that survives, only if they survive, will they then go into discovery mode. Yeah, that's a fold. That's the first step towards this case being dismissed. I talked about the first steps in the first segments as we move and march and lurch towards a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. Welcome back. If you don't know me, I'm Michael Popok, co-founder of Legal AF, the podcast, the YouTube channel, all that work. Hopefully you've come to enjoy at the intersection of law and politics. And now I've got a show by myself. I mean, occasionally I bring on somebody to talk to me. I think I'm going to bring Katie Fang on to kibitz with me a little bit on the next intersection for a bit. But I don't blow smoke or sunshine, as you can tell from my glasses. I don't mince words. I don't hold back. No holds barred. Unfiltered, uncensored. Yep, the boys finally gave me a show, and it's called The Intersection. The way to support it, watch us on YouTube. Join us when we do the live recording on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Come over to the audio. We need some help with the audio, some love over there. Show love on the audio. Set your reminders for it. Subscribe to it. Follow it. Leave comments and 5-star reviews. Help the audio. Then we've got the Legal AF's YouTube channel, Legal AF MTN. And Legal AF Substack. Those are the other ways to kind of keep this entire Legal AF ecosystem up and running for you. We don't have paywalls. We just need your support in the ways I just outlined. And great news on Legal AF YouTube. Here we grow again. We just got, this is amazing. I can chill down my spine. We just got Adam Klasfeld. Yep, that guy. From All Rise News, the guy that's in the courtrooms, in the courthouses, reporting in real time and doing amazing commentary. You saw him on Morning Joe. You saw him with Lawrence O'Donnell. And now exclusively on Legal AF doing his reporting. Adam Klasfeld, All Rise News. His playlist is already up. Join us there. I curate the channel for you. Everything at the intersection of law and politics, one-stop shopping. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.